Thank you. I'm Mr. Lehner, and welcome back to Mr. Lehner's Math Extravaganza. And today, in this webisode, we're going to build on what we talked about yesterday. Only now we're going to take a look at constant area, but changing perimeter with a couple of examples with treehouse. So if you're like me and like to build forts, or maybe make a treehouse, this might intrigue you a little bit. Let's not waste any more time. Let's look at this bad boy. Aaliyah and Mike are making a treehouse. The floor of the treehouse is 8 feet by 10.5 feet. How much carpeting do they need for the floor? How much insulation do they need for the edges of the treehouse? So let's break this problem down. We have a nice little visual here on the side. Imagine that this is the floor of our treehouse, and it's 8 feet by 10.5 feet. What do they want us to figure out? They want to know how much carpeting they need for the floor. That's the first thing. And they want to know how much insulation they need for the edges of the treehouse. Again, maybe to keep out those bugs. Nobody wants bugs inside their treehouse. So we're trying to find out how much carpeting to cover the floor, and then how much insulation we need for the edges to keep our heat inside, maybe some of those bugs on the outside. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to take a look at is, I know that the floor, the carpeting here, that's area. Well, I know one of the formulas that we've been talking about to find area is the length times the width. So I can do my length here, my width right here is 8 feet, and I can multiply by 10.5 feet, and my area is going to be 84 square feet of carpet. So if we were building this tree house and you actually measured out your floor, when you go to the store, we talk about not wanting to waste our time, I know that I need at least 84 square feet of carpet to cover the floor of this tree house. So it's important to know our area there. To find the perimeter, remember, the perimeter is the outside. Now I can add up all the sides, or I can do 2 times my length plus 2 times the width. So 2 times 10.5 plus 2 times 8 is going to be 37 feet of insulation. So that's going to be 37 feet around my perimeter, again, to keep that warm air in, maybe some of those bugs on the outside. So again, using area and perimeter, we can now take a look at how that's going to affect our tree house. Let's look at another example. This time, this is a question you're at home are going to solve. Trinity and Jenna have decided to build a new treehouse, but this time they have built a wall horizontally across the treehouse to divide up the space. How much does each side need for carpet? How much insulation is needed? So it's kind of like maybe you have a brother or sister or a sibling at home that maybe you don't always get along with. Maybe you share a room with that sibling, and sometimes you might put like tape or a line down the middle to split up both sides. Well, that's what Trinity and Jenna have decided to do here. They decided this was our tree house. We kind of want our own room. We want our own little section. So they built a handy dandy little wall in between to give themselves their own section of the tree house. What I want you to figure out is how much carpet does each side need and how much insulation is going to be needed in this problem. I know the pen's ready or the pencil's ready. Have your paper out. Go ahead, pause this video, and we'll see what you come up with. Okay, taking a look at this problem, I already know that the length is 12 feet and the width is 10 feet. But now I have a divider in here. Well, I know that this side of the house, well, it's still 12 feet. But this width right here is a little bit different. This line is directly in the middle. So if this is 10 feet, and a line goes in the middle splitting it, I'm trying to find out the size of these two sides. Each one is going to be 5 feet on both sides. So 5 and 5 still equals my 10 feet here, but I just have a line breaking it into 2 equal sections. And again, if this side, we talked about congruency before, if this side is 5 feet, I also know that this side is 5 feet as well. Okay, so let's find the area. So the area, I'm going to use 5 instead of 10 because this is the top. We'll say this is Trinity's spot up here. I'm going to do 5 times the 12 feet up top, and I know that I need 60 square feet of carpet here in each room. So I need 60 square feet in this room. I also need 60 square feet in this room. So when I go to the store, I know that I'm going to need a total of 120 total square feet. Again, 64 each side for both Trinity and for Jenna as well. Okay, now let's take a look at that perimeter. I know that the perimeter of this building is 10 feet here, 10 feet here, 12 feet here, 12 feet here. Now last time I used 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. This side, this time, I'm adding all my sides together around the outside. So I can do 10 plus 10 and 12 or plus 12, which is going to equal 44 feet of insulation. So again, if I want to keep that warm air inside, especially during these cold winter months like we've been having, I'm going to want to put that insulation there on the outside edges of my treehouse to keep it warm during those months. Thank you for tuning in to Miscellaneous Math with Extravaganza. As always, we'll see you next time, and go Blackhawks.